The catastrophic Australian bushfires went viral over the weekend. As of right now, the sheer damage of the wildfires is unprecedented. The fires have not only affected Australia, but the surrounding areas as well. Here are the top 10 scary things that could happen because of the Australian bushfires. You are watching InformOverload, I'm Charlotte Dobre, and before I get into this video, I would just like to express how worried I am about Australia. I've watched the bushfires go viral over the weekend and I'm glad they're finally getting global attention. It sucks that it had to get this bad for people to finally care. I remember covering the story a few weeks ago on IO and it's still at 6,000 views, so on behalf of IO, our hearts go out to our Australian fans watching. Stay safe out there. Australia is on fire right now. Although wildfires take place in Australia every year, the wildfires this year are the worst in decades. It rained over the weekend, which did some good. Officials are warning though that there's more dangerous weather expected this week. 200 wildfires are still active. New South Wales and Victoria are the worst affected. The blazes are expected to continue for months. And at number 10 we have homes lost. Thousands of buildings have been destroyed by the wildfires. 2,000 homes have been destroyed so far. Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced the funding of $1.4 billion US for the National Bushfire Recovery Agency, which will be needed to rebuild people's lives over the next 2 years. In at number 9, livestock killed. Australian Army personnel have reported that they will be digging graves for more than 100,000 sheep and cattle who've been killed by the wildfires so far. Livestock is food that's needed now more than ever by residents of Australia. In at number 8, Humanitarian Crisis. There are mass evacuations happening in Australia right now. Essentially, the evacuations are becoming mass migrations of people. Many towns are without electricity and mobile coverage as thousands of people flee to safety. 67,000 people have been evacuated from areas in Victoria alone. Where are those people gonna go? In at number 7, smoke. Smoke in Canberra was so bad that the department that is responsible for managing emergency services shut down. As of Monday, January 6, Canberra had ratings of over 340 on the Air Quality Index, which is higher than Beijing's 170. Photos of blood red skies flood social media. Smoke has blocked out the sun completely in some areas like Eden and will likely stay that way. And at number 6 we have respiratory illnesses. The air quality in Australia is so bad right now, it's way higher than safe levels, dozens of times higher to be exact. In Sydney, pollution from wildfires 90 miles away is coating the city in particles of smoke that can be filled with dangerous chemicals. People are breathing in those chemicals. Some of the people who are most at risk are the firefighters that are working tirelessly to control the blazes. And at number 5, koalas could go extinct. Koalas have already had it rough in Australia. A devastating chlamydia epidemic dwindled their populations. As of May 10th last year, the Australian Koala Foundation declared that there could have been as few as 80,000 koalas left in the wild, and that number is much lower now. At least 25,000 koalas are estimated to have been killed by a devastating wildfire in South Australia. Koala rescuer Margaret Hurl said that an important koala population called the gene pool, nicknamed for its good health, has been wiped out. 80% of the koala's habitat has been destroyed. It's estimated that populations will take years or even decades to recover, and some might not at all. In at number 4 we have mass extinction. There are 17 megadiverse countries on this planet, and Australia is one of them. Unfortunately, many of the places within Australia that are the most rich in biodiversity have been reduced to kindling. Although we don't know the sheer extent of the damage yet, it's estimated that 500 million animals have been killed by the fires so far. Images of kangaroos and koalas burnt to a crisp have flooded social media, and they're honestly really hard to look at. Animals native to Australia like kangaroos, koalas and wallabies exist nowhere else on Earth. Even for the animals who have escaped the blazes, there is little to no food left and many will starve to death. In at number 3, the fires could affect global climate. Because forests are natural stores of carbon, when they burn, it releases a huge amount of toxins into the atmosphere like black carbon, brown carbon, nitrous oxides, ozone precursors, and carbon dioxide. Those emissions affect the clouds, climate, and radiation within the region, and if the fires are bad enough, on a global scale as well. The Australian bushfires so far have released as much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere as half of the Australian emissions for the entire year. According to a NASA analysis between August and December 2019, the fires released about 532 million tons of CO2 into the atmosphere in total. And at 2, people will die. Because the smoke is so thick, it's very difficult for rescue missions to take place. Some rescue missions don't happen at all because they have to turn back because the smoke is so thick, especially airlifting rescue missions. 25 people have already passed away because of the fires, and that number is expected to rise. Good news though, as of right now, all missing people have been accounted for. And in at number 1, Australia will be unrecognizable. The wildfires have already destroyed 8 million hectares of land across the country. Even fires on safe havens like Kangaroo Island, which was considered a koala safe haven Haven were described as virtually unstoppable by firefighters. These fires will affect Australian wildlife, people, and infrastructure for years to come. Tourism will be affected as the country tries to rebuild. In short, Australia, the once beautiful place, won't be so beautiful for at least a few years. Temperatures in Australia are expected to soar to 40 degrees Celsius this Friday, which means there's another wave of devastation coming. Prime Minister of Australia Scott Morrison warned that the most difficult fire seasons for some states could be later in January and February. If you guys are able, I will leave a link in the comments and description where you can donate to the fires and the people affected. Once again, on behalf of IO, our hearts go out to all of those affected by the wildfires, but I hope this video helps spread the word. Please donate if you can. We won't be responding to comments at the end of this video, but if you want to keep watching IO, a playlist is going to pop up in a couple of seconds. And if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe for more trending news commentary, and I will see you in a future IO video.